Who is going to tell Tyler Perry that Black women are no longer suffering?
I'm grateful for this person for showing me how not to be.
Yeah.
You know, Tyler Perry didn't just pull this out of the sky. These women exist. These people exist, and they need to see themselves.
Tyler Perry hates Black women, and I'm not saying allegedly because the proof is in the pudding. A little offended. And honestly, I'm still recovering from mea culpa. He has managed to make billions of dollars. Looking at you too, Issa Rae. One of them days? Really? Where's our Legally Blonde? Where's our pretty one? It is becoming more evident that Tyler only sees Black women as hardworking, struggling, great victims that, of course, one day are going to be rescued by a blue-collared Black man.
People tell Tyler Perry to stop showing those women on camera.
I think that's their own traumas triggered.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the community, Black community, we don't deal with it. You know what I mean? So if you're forced to look at it often, you will be triggered.
I don't know if Tyler Perry doesn't like Black women or doesn't give a damn about Black women or thinks he knows Black women, but these storylines that he's concocting that's supposed to be the story of Black women are so idiotic. I cannot take it anymore.
In particular, I am drawn to characters who are voiceless and need a voice because I am such a big personality. I like to breathe light into those characters because I feel like
we literally run the entire episode for him and he hates it. Does that mean I have to learn a whole new script? Yes, that's what it means. Mr. Perry on the spot starts rewriting the entire script and he's feeding me the lines to say, and the director is kind of standing on the side like, you better do it because if not, they will fight.
I'm grateful for this person for showing me how not to be. When you're the boss, how not to be. You don't sexually harass your employees. You don't pressure them, bully them, try to intimidate them into what you want.
Tired of working so hard, being gracious at what I do, getting paid a fraction of the cost. I'm tired of hearing my sisters say the same thing over and over. It's going to tell Tyler Perry that Black women are no longer suffering. It's about time that this narrative that Tyler Perry has needs to stop. Because Black women are embracing ease, softness, luxury, therapy, healing. We are embracing a different life. And it's about time the representation of us change as well.
You know, that fourth day I was like, oh my God, I gotta do this again. You know what I mean? Because it's not comfortable. Showing a character's trauma and pain is like showing you some of my trauma and pain. And it's healing, but having to open up those wounds, it's not comfortable.
In some of these movies, and to think that all the image that is being portrayed to them is this tired, traumatized, suffering Black woman. It has to stop.
It is becoming more evident that Tyler only sees Black women as hardworking, struggling, great victims that, of course, one day are going to be rescued by a blue-collared Black man.
Now, I know that to you, I'm just a poor, light-skinned gardener who can't even afford a shirt. But I love me some Jesus, and I love me some you.
Oh, Lord, thank you, Jesus. I never thought I'd ever be with a man so loving and light-skinned.
Partially blame the media for people's derogatory perspectives about Black women worldwide. I'm not talking about the Beyoncés and Oprahs and Kerry Washingtons of the world. I'm talking about normal, everyday Black women. It is dangerous to continue to depict us in such a lowbrow manner.
What is that black dick connected to? That black man? So no, I was not blackballed. I was whiteballed.
And that's cost my family tens of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Over a lie and a rumor.
Is he gonna compensate you for that?
I want you to look in your camera.
Yes.
And I want you to talk to Tyler Perry because you heard what that man said. So ask him, will he compensate my family for that?
Tyler, will you come on Club Shay Shay and let's have a conversation about the fair compensation?
Get mad, even if you get offended. Man. So, what you gonna do? Because I guarantee you can beat me up. Because Cookie from the show Empire, I was offered that role. Now, Taraji tore it up, baby. Listen here. However, I was offered that. Then Felita called me back and say, baby girl, they said you too difficult to work with. But you hear on the audio that a man told David Talbert I was difficult to work with.
Those people who think that my films focus on the struggle of Black women, because they're right, it does. I'm in doing this. Let me tell you something. If I get an opportunity to put a Black woman on screen for people to see them in love, in happy, in joy, in pain, in struggle, what I'm doing is a service to all people so that people will know that Black women are not just strong and one thing. They are all things, and they go through all of these different things.
Mm-hmm. That's not somebody who's beneath you. Yeah. That's somebody who came to love you at your worth. Right? Yes. And as long as he's secure in himself to know that, yep, she makes most of the money. All I can pay is the light bill. As long as she's comfortable enough to say, I'm going to cover the mortgage and all the other stuff. You handle the light bill, baby. You can take me to dinner every now and then. That is fine. Yeah. That's fine.
To have an opportunity to be able to paint all of these pictures and all sides of it is something that I'm paying homage to my mother, to my aunt, to my sisters and friends and cousins and the things that they all went through. So that's what I would say to that.
Be glorified. I don't care if a man is a good man. That doesn't mean that he's the right man for you. Maybe I, as a woman, don't want to be the primary breadwinner. Is that okay? Am I allowed to say that I want a provider? It's funny to me how women are always expected to settle and meet a man where he is and just look at a man's heart, but they look at your face. They look at your body. Just the other day, I posted a video about this guy that was like, oh man, she's perfect when you're loved the right way by the wrong woman. She just doesn't look the way I want her to look. Oh man.
Yes, I can't do it. I can't. You're not on your healing journey. I can't help you, baby, because I can't take on your trauma while I'm trying to get over mine.
I tell Tyler Perry that the average Black woman is actually thriving now. We pay our bills are paid. Thank you.
Is Tyler Perry Hollywood's biggest champion of Black women, or their most relentless tormentor in disguise? While the world is watching his empire unravel amid shocking new allegations, Taraji P. Henson is still standing tall beside him, smiling through the fire. But that loyalty has Black women everywhere asking the same burning question. Why? Because when Perry's latest trauma-packed film dropped, complete with single mother suffering and a storyline so extreme it borders on parody, it didn't feel like representation. It felt like punishment. Now, critics are calling his films trauma porn dressed up as empowerment. Fans are dragging him on social media, and a lawsuit is accusing him of abuse behind the scenes. So why is Taraji, of all people, still defending him like family at a cookout? Let's break it all down. From the formula Perry can't stop using, to the real reason Taraji says Black women are mad, and the scandal that could finally shatter the Perry machine. Just when you thought Hollywood couldn't twist itself into more knots, Taraji P. Henson has entered the chat again. But this time, she's not crying on a press tour about Black women being underpaid. She's standing 10 toes down for Tyler Perry, a man now being sued for sexual assault by a former actor who claims Perry used his power, fame, and faith as tools of manipulation. And the internet? It's in shambles. This isn't just about one woman defending her billionaire boss. It's a cultural whiplash moment, where audiences are being asked to choose between protecting Black creators and holding them accountable. Taraji says Tyler gave her opportunity when no one else would. But critics say what looks like representation may actually be exploitation wrapped in a Medea wig and a church organ. So what's really going on here? Is Tyler Perry the visionary outsider Hollywood never wanted, but Black America desperately needed? Or is he just another powerful man hiding behind good PR and a Bible verse, while silencing the very people he claims to uplift? Because behind Taraji's glowing words is a lawsuit full of darkness, allegations of sexual coercion, career sabotage, and an alleged pattern of using faith and fear to control aspiring actors. And according to insiders, this is only the beginning. The lawsuit has cracked the surface, but bombshells are coming. Names, receipts, and a potential shift in how Black Hollywood protects its own. So buckle up, because this isn't just a scandal. It's a reckoning. And not everyone's walking away clean. For years, Tyler Perry has sold us a gospel of pain. Black women must suffer, break, and beg before they're allowed a glimpse of joy. That's the formula. Whether it's domestic abuse, sexual assault, cheating pastors, or vindictive light-skinned men, his stories always follow the same sermon. Trauma is the price of redemption. And the latest example? Straw, his quietly released streaming project that viewers are calling trauma porn with a twist of wig glue. In Straw, The main character, a black woman, is homeless, assaulted, and forced to give a child up for adoption, only to be told by the third act that her suffering was part of God's plan. One critic called it a Hallmark movie directed by the devil. Another asked, is Tyler Perry okay? But the bigger question is, are we? Because audiences are fed up. Twitter threads are roasting his constant portrayal of black women as punching bags. TikToks are dissecting scene after scene of agony with the same formulaic pacing. Woman in pain, man causing it, church choir montage, then a last-minute plot twist where forgiveness saves the day, but nothing actually changes. And yet, Perry defends this with a straight face. He says he's telling real stories. But critics argue he's glorifying trauma, using black women's pain as spectacle to sell morality tales that ultimately blame them for staying, forgiving, or not praying hard enough. Even former fans are asking, why is the suffering always necessary? Why do black women only earn love, stability, or a happy ending after being broken completely? And why is that considered empowering? Because when Straw hit streaming platforms, it wasn't just panned, it was triggering. Viewers who'd experienced real abuse felt re-traumatized. And now, with these new allegations surfacing, people are looking back at those scenes and asking, was this art or confession? If you think Straw was a one-off, think again. Tyler Perry's entire filmography reads like a graveyard of broken black women, each one dragged through trauma, only to be told they earned their happy ending by surviving hell. Let's start with Temptation, Confessions of a Marriage Counselor. Journey Smollett's character cheats on her emotionally distant husband, and her punishment? She contracts HIV, loses everything, and ends up alone, working in a pharmacy with a dead stare. The message? Step out of line, and you'll suffer forever. Then there's Acrimony. Taraji P. Henson plays Melinda, a devoted wife who supports her no-good man for years. He finally makes it big, but gives the riches and rewards to another woman. Melinda, consumed by rage, spirals into madness. She's not vindicated. She's villainized. And in the end, she dies on a sinking yacht. Yes, dies. After decades of loyalty and sacrifice, her arc ends with her drowning in a wedding dress. Why did I get married? We're given 4 black women, each one saddled with cheating, controlling, or emotionally negligent husbands. Jill Scott's character is fat-shamed and left at the airport. Tasha Smith is portrayed as loud and emasculating. In the Perryverse, emotional abuse is a rite of passage, and silence is framed as strength. You survive, you stay, you pray, and maybe you'll be rewarded. But only after humiliation. It's a pattern, a message, one that says black women must earn love through suffering, that their trauma is not only inevitable but necessary, that if they're angry, they're bitter. If they fight back, they're unstable. And if they want happiness without pain, they're ungrateful. Tyler Perry calls it empowerment. Critics call it a punishment arc dressed in church robes. And now that real-life allegations are coming forward, people are starting to ask the unthinkable. Were these characters fiction, or was Perry projecting something much darker? Taraji P. Henson didn't just defend Tyler Perry, she doubled down. On The Breakfast Club, she framed his work as necessary, even urgent. These stories matter, she said. These women are real. For Taraji, Perry's films aren't trauma porn, they're testimony. But not everyone bought it, especially when she pivoted from art to psychology. People are triggered, she claimed, because they haven't healed. It wasn't the writing. It wasn't the over-the-top abuse scenes. No, it was you. You're uncomfortable because you're broken. And then came the line that changed the whole conversation. Don't blame Tyler for your pain. Blame the culture. That's when things got murky. Was Taraji protecting a visionary or enabling a manipulator? Some saw it as loyalty. Others called it a trauma bond, a protective reflex from someone who's had to survive too much, too long, in an industry that never paid her what she's worth until Tyler. But just as her words made headlines, something else broke through, something Tyler couldn't script or spin. Enter Derek Dixon, An actor and crew member who filed a lawsuit that reads like something straight out of Perry's darkest scripts. Only this time, it's not fiction. Dixon claims he was coerced, groped, and threatened on Perry's sets. He wasn't just silenced, he was scared. He describes a workplace ruled by fear, where actors submitted because saying no meant losing everything. Power imbalances, alleged retaliation, and a God-complex boss whose empire thrived on silence. The lawsuit doesn't allege isolated incidents. It points to a pattern. One where Tyler's name meant unchecked control, where no one dared speak out, until now. And with parallels to the Diddy investigation swirling, people are wondering, how deep does this go? Perry, for his part, called the lawsuit a scam. But if it were just that, why are more stories starting to bubble up? Behind the pristine studio gates of Tyler Perry Studios, the reality wasn't glam, it was pressure. Rewrites were constant. Schedules were grueling. And according to multiple insiders, the vibe was clear: do it or be fired. Christian Keys, a Perry alum, didn't hold back. He once said, "Tyler showed me how not to be a boss." That speaks volumes in an industry full of egos, but especially in a company where Perry proudly holds the title of writer, director, producer, and editor. Every final cut is his. Every choice approved by him. It's creative control to the extreme. But with that control comes consequence. When no one can say no to you, who holds you accountable? So why does Taraji stand by him? One word: money. In that same Breakfast Club interview, she revealed, "He doubled my quote." After years of crying on red carpets about being underpaid, even with an Oscar nomination, Tyler was the one who finally cut the check. That's not loyalty. That's survival. Taraji knows her worth, but she also knows Hollywood rarely agrees. So when someone finally offers what you deserve, you protect the bag, even if it costs you peace. It's the oldest trade-off in the book: fair pay versus emotional toll. In Perry's world, you might get the money, but the script still demands your suffering. Taraji P. Henson isn't just acting, she's excavating. Every time she steps into one of Tyler Perry's worlds, she's not just reading lines, she's reliving wounds. And she said it herself, playing broken, battered women isn't easy. It's not glamorous. It's not cathartic. It hurts. In her own words, it's healing but not comfortable. Let that sit for a moment. Yes, these roles may offer a mirror to audiences. Yes, they can create space for reflection, for conversation, even for collective healing. But for the women playing them, Black women in particular, it takes something out of you. Taraji's face isn't just makeup and lighting, it's anguish. Real, raw anguish. The kind you don't just shake off after the director yells cut. Behind every bruised character is a bruised actor. And we're now asking, how much pain is too much? At what point does art stop being a tool for healing and start becoming a cycle of re-injury? Because this isn't just about one film. It's a pattern, a formula. And for all the talk about healing through storytelling, no one seems to be talking about the cost. The emotional tax of playing pain, especially in roles written by a man who's never lived that trauma, is steep. And for many, it's beginning to feel like a bill that Black women are forced to pay again and again, while the men in power collect the profits. And here's the real question. Do we need to keep seeing Black women suffer on screen in order to validate their humanity? Do we only believe their worth once they've been torn down, betrayed, abandoned, abused? Taraji is trying to walk a tightrope, honoring the women these characters represent, while defending the man behind the camera. But even she's admitted the toll it takes. So how long can this go on before even the strongest actresses and audiences say enough? Because if healing keeps looking like harm, maybe it's not healing at all. Let's zoom out. Because this was never just about one Tyler Perry film. Not just about Taraji. Not even just about Derek Dixon's lawsuit or toxic work environments. This is about something deeper, more insidious. It's about the power of the stories we keep telling, and who keeps getting cast as the tragedy. Because whether we like it or not, media isn't just entertainment. It's messaging. It teaches. It affirms. It reflects, and it shapes. So here's the question we can't ignore anymore. If all we ever see are broken Black women betrayed, abandoned, abused, what do we start believing in real life? Not just what the audience believes. What black women believe about themselves. Because over and over again, the message is clear. Black women must suffer to be seen. They must be cheated on to be desired, beaten to be believed, humiliated to be heard. They must endure hell before they're allowed a sliver of love, usually from a man who shows up in the final 5 minutes like some half-baked redemption arc. But this formula doesn't reflect real life anymore. And that's the problem. Critics aren't calling for silence. They're calling for balance. Because black women are thriving. They are healing. They are leading. They are loving, building wealth, building community, and rewriting generational trauma without needing to be dragged through the cinematic mud to do it. So where are those stories? Where are the stories where a black woman walks in whole, not broken? Where her conflict isn't her pain, but her power? Where she's not surviving abuse, but setting boundaries, raising daughters, running empires, laughing without it being the aftermath of tears. And more importantly, why are so many of those stories not coming from Tyler Perry Studios? For years, Tyler Perry has insisted that he's telling real stories, that these are the women he knows, that their pain needs to be acknowledged. But critics are pushing back, because if every woman you know is broken, maybe the problem isn't them. Maybe it's you. And now, as the culture begins to shift, demanding better portrayals, more multidimensional characters, and fuller representations of black womanhood, there's a growing sense that Tyler's empire isn't just outdated, it's harmful. Because representation without respect is just misrepresentation, and trauma without nuance is just exploitation. So the next time a Tyler Perry film hits theaters, we have to ask, are we watching empowerment or just another ritual of pain wrapped in the language of healing? Because after decades of watching black women cry on command, beg for love, and carry the weight of everyone else's sins, maybe it's time we let them breathe. Here's what it all comes down to. The cracks in Tyler Perry's empire are no longer subtle. They're loud, public, bleeding into every corner of Hollywood. And now, they're starting to threaten the very foundation that made him untouchable. Once hailed as the unstoppable mogul who did it all himself, Perry built his kingdom on a formula: pain, perseverance, and production speed. He writes alone, directs alone, greenlights everything alone. And for years, that worked. Studios envied his machine. Actors needed his checks. And audiences, especially black women, kept showing up, hoping the next film would offer more than trauma in a wig. But now, that loyalty is fracturing. Loudly. The public is tired. The stories feel stale. The tropes feel cruel. The lawsuit from Derek Dixon isn't some isolated scandal. It's a symptom of control, of fear-based leadership, of what happens when one man becomes too powerful to question. And while fans used to defend Perry as the only one hiring us, now they're asking, at what cost? Behind the scenes, more actors are quietly speaking up, whispering about toxic set culture, rushed scripts, emotional exhaustion, and a man who doesn't take notes. Not from his crew, not from his cast, not even from the culture evolving around him. And still there's Taraji. In the middle of the firestorm, she's still standing beside him, writing for him, defending the pain as necessary, calling it healing, doubling down on the value of these roles even as the internet begs, Taraji, please, blink twice if you're tired. Because here's the tension that can't be ignored. How long can she keep defending him when the public has already started walking away? How long can you call it empowerment when it only ever ends in suffering? And how long can a king stay on top when his kingdom is held together by trauma and silence? The truth is, Tyler Perry is at a crossroads. The same audiences who made him rich are now demanding better. The culture has shifted, and it's no longer enough to say, but I'm telling real stories. People want fresh stories, healing stories, and most importantly, honest ones about joy, about resilience, about thriving without having to bleed first. So now the question becomes, will Perry evolve? Will he finally loosen his grip and let new voices shape the future of his studio? Or will he go down swinging, defending a formula that no longer feeds the community but drains it? Because the empire is cracking. And if Tyler Perry doesn't change course soon, it might just collapse under the weight of the very pain it profits from.